Órale! Bienvenidos and welcome to the Familia FFB podcast. We've got a special NFL Draft Rookie Spotlight, Familia. Hope you enjoyed that. But first, please make sure you're giving us a like and subscribe on YouTube. Go to Familia FFB, give that thumbs up, por favor. All right, let's get into it. You being a Michigan fan, you've seen the best of times and worst of times for CJ Stroud and in two games. I was really questioning. I had major questions after the Michigan game because I felt like Michigan made him look uh, average. I didn't. I did. But then the Georgia game came, and it was just. He blew me. I actually rewatched the game the other day to just kind of feel better because it was New Year's Eve and everything like that. I saw I saw great timing, just not the huge arm, but Joe Burrow doesn't have a huge arm, and he hits the spots. I'm not comparing Familia. I'm not comparing CJ Stroud to Joe Burrow. Don't cancel me. But I saw some really good, some much better traits, and doing it against an elite defense. How much did you kind of? I mean, both elite defenses. Michigan's going to have a lot of guys playing in the NFL too. What did CJ Stroud show you in improving from that one that maybe from the Michigan game to the Georgia maybe is going to help him when it comes draft time?
So yeah, you hit it on the head in terms of like the comp is Joe Burrow. Like that is going to be the comp. Now, whether it's good Joe Burrow or bad Joe Burrow, that's really the question. Like I think with CJ, because like that was our comp as well. I've watched him play a while. Part of me and in reality is, and I think that we've talked about this enough too on our show, is Ryan Day, I think, held him back a bit. Like Ryan Day doesn't like his quarterbacks to run. So Ryan Day, you'll watch him. He'll look through the sidelines, and like Day will say no. Like there's some body language going on with that. And his quarterbacks historically, look at Justin Fields. Look what Fields does in the NFL. Why wouldn't he been able to do that in college? Like people were actually talking about Fields not being a rushing upside in college, like coming out, and now he probably would have broke the rushing record had he stayed healthy. And for quarterbacks, and you're just laughing at that. And that I think that's CJ too. Like CJ has the ability. I think we've seen him do it a few times, but his head coach doesn't like that. So I think when people knock him against that, like I see people knocking him all the time, I laugh because like our precedents have seen Day be that guy, right? Like I don't know if you remember, but like you were saying Sam Howell was a dual threat guy coming out because he had all these rushing yards from North Carolina, but he wasn't a dual threat. He was just asked to do a lot of that stuff by his coaching staff. And that was not going to translate because he wasn't the level of athlete these guys are. CJ is an athlete. Like he's athletic. He can do those type of things. So I think that's one area to look at too with him is like, I do think that he could bring that dual level ability. We just haven't seen it yet. He's not going to be a Justin Fields type athlete, but he can definitely kind of do those things. So I think that's the area that I kind of highlight. Like he's unwilling to do it, but is it because of Day? But other than that, like I think he's a really high level processor. I think he sees the field very well, and I think he's almost. It's crazy to say this, but I think he's too good at it because what happens is you saw him at times pull the ball down, not make tough throws, and some of it was like, well, I'm not going to make a mistake here. I don't want to because my coach tells me, hey, I can't make that read, and he took a lot of sacks on unnecessary plays. So like the Michigan game and certain games like that, he kind of let the game just come to him, and he didn't take a lot of things over. So that could also be a negative where it's like he wants everything to be too perfect, but that's NFL coaching. They'll get that out of him. Like overall, he's a high level processor. He good ball placement to all levels of the field. He makes some throws. Like, so I have his all 22. And sometimes you just watch his all 22 and you're just like, damn, that's an NFL throw right there. Cause he legit has like the ability to make every throw on the field. Like there's nothing out there. And people don't realize this. He's a late bloomer. Like in high school, his junior year is he really took off. He didn't really have any offers until his junior year. Then his senior year, he had a great senior year. Then Ohio State offered him, and then he didn't play his freshman year. And then he played his sophomore and junior year for Ohio State. Like, so he's still youngish, like in terms of the position. Like we might not see his ceiling yet. So like there's little things about Stroud that you have to like.
You know what? You mentioned the running, and you're right. I mean, he didn't get a lot of opportunity. I mean, he could run maybe as much as like a Mahomes or a Burrow or a Justin Herbert, not going to run for 700-800 plus yards, but maybe he's like 300 yards, 400 yards, and helps you out that way. I think, and and it's going to be so much the landing spot. I mean, we know that the quarterbacks that are the quarterback needy teams that are at the top of the draft. You mentioned Houston, you mentioned Carolina, Indianapolis. I mean, those are three of the teams. The Raiders are up there too. I think, who's going to go up and get. Would you be surprised if him and the Stroud and Bryce Young went 1-2? Not necessarily in that order.
No, I would not. I think they will. I think if you're the Colts, you do whatever you can to get CJ. Like I think that he would fit perfectly on that roster with Taylor, and again, I don't know how much I would like CJ to be there just because that freaking coaching search has been a nightmare and everything there. But I think if you're the Colts, you fit him in there with Pittman, you have those kind of weapons, Pierce, whatever is there. I don't know if they're going to bring Paris back. They have a good tight end sets. What that offense is going to look like, we still don't know as we record this pod in February. So I don't know who they're going to hire. But when you're looking at those things, like I think he fits very well there for the Colts. Like I think the Texans do too. Like I could see both those teams that really want him. The Texans dropped the bag when they won that last game because I think that they would be sitting there with CJ being there. But I think that's why. Now, if they move up to take Levis, I think that's a mistake. But the Colts would do very well with CJ. And in another team like Seahawks, the Seahawks would kill it with Stroud. That's why, I know Geno just won comeback player of the year and all that stuff. You're not winning a Super Bowl with Geno Smith. You're not doing it. And you're sitting in the top 5. And if CJ is there on the board and you pass on him, that could be a career killer for all of that front office and the team, because I think that CJ gives you the best chance to win on that roster. And I think that's what you're looking for. Like those are the areas. Like if I was a team like the Seahawks and CJ sitting there, I'm taking him. But if he's at 1-2, he's not going to be there for the Seahawks unless they move up, which I don't think they will. But no, I think both those guys should go 1-2 off the board, especially with the quarterback position the way it is in the NFL.
I hope you enjoyed that NFL Draft Rookie Spotlight, Familia. You never know. One of those players might help you win your league. And while you're at it, start drafting on Underdog. Use that promo code Familia23. We're going to match you your first $100 on your initial deposit. It's best ball. Underdog. They do it better than anybody else. Use that promo code Familia23. Draft and keep drafting on best ball all the way up to the kickoff of the 2023 NFL season. And we're a proud member of the Fantasy Points Media Group. Get your 2023 subscription at fantasypoints.com. It's going to take you all the way to the 2024 Super Bowl with incredible fantasy football content. Bueno, eso es todo for our show. Make sure you're going to YouTube. Give Familia FFB a like and subscribe. Really appreciate it. Muchas gracias. Salud.